All things black with All Things Black with Garland and Calvin present Fanboys. Fanboys is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Now, here are your hosts, Garland and Calvin.
You.
All Things Black presents Fanboys.
Put your hands up.
This is like 3 weeks in a row. I'm Calvin. The hype man over there is Garland. What's going on, sir?
Hotel, motel, holiday inn. You know, it's the 50th birthday of hip hop. And so, just been celebrating and stuff all year leading up to August the 11th. August the 11th, 1973 is where most historians denote the birth of hip hop. And so, yeah, man, I'm just representing. That's why I'm holding the mic, y'all. I know my mic stand might be broke, but no. Yeah, that's all.
1, 2, 1, 2. Let me copy. 1, 2. Can y'all hear me? Sound man, turn my mic up.
All right, y'all. What's up, everybody?
You holding the mic for hip hop. I got mine suspended for We Are the World. There comes a time when we hear the
Cyndi Lauper's part.
Hey man, so just in case you all didn't know, this is our live recording of the podcast that we do every week. It is live on YouTube, so for anyone that's watching the live stream, thank you for joining us live on YouTube, and everyone else, this will be on all of your podcast platforms. I'll even send out some clips on TikTok and Instagram just so people can see, to try to get you to, get in there. You get to hear a few things, just to wet the whistle, just a little tease. Yeah. So we want you to definitely subscribe to us. But again, we are on all of the social media platforms. Make sure you follow us on Facebook also. All Things Black with Garland and Calvin, and Twitter ATB GANDC, which stands for All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. So
yes, sir. I'm real brown today. I'm real almondy. You just so almondy. I'm real almondy today. I'm just real. It's gonna hurt. She's just gonna hurt you, almond brown. I'm real almondy today. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what Garland be doing with his light, but he do be in there getting all almondy and shit.
You bring me joy.
Looking like a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios and shit every
week. I'm real light-skinned in person, but I'm real almondy on this broadcast, though. You think I'm golden.
Hey, man, what we got going on today?
We're going to talk some NFL, man. They still got a little gambling problem, and they just had to suspend 4 players. We'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk some free agency. Everybody's getting a bag in the NBA, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the Lakers, too, because it looked like maybe they are the off-season champs. We're going to talk a little Major League Baseball, and how come ain't nobody watching? Ain't nobody talking about baseball?
I am.
And just the people who like baseball are talking about baseball.
Oh, it's just one today, 2-1, bottom of the
8th. Finally. I know people was all upset. They wanted to burn the City Connect uniforms. I'm like, okay, they lost 4 straight in every uniform combination. What we gonna do now? Play in our drawers? And
man. You know how I feel about. I like the City Connect uniforms, but they are 1-4 in them. Stop wearing them joints on Friday nights. Wear them another day.
This is for these people.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and jump into the NFL and do as I say and not as I do. The league suspends 4 players for gambling, and so Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry of the Indianapolis Colts and free agent Demetrius Taylor was suspended indefinitely, or at least through the 2023 season, for betting on NFL games last season. In addition, Tennessee Titans offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere was suspended 6 games for betting on other sports at the workplace. The Colts subsequently announced that both Rodgers and Berry have been waived as a consequence of their suspensions. Now, earlier this year, 4 Lions players and 1 Washington Commanders player was suspended by the NFL for gambling violations. Lions wide receiver Quintez Cephas and safety C.J. Moore were suspended indefinitely for betting on NFL games, as was Commanders defensive end Shaka Tony. Detroit wide receivers Jamison Williams and Stanley Berryhill were suspended for 6 games each for mobile betting that occurred at the Lions' Allen Park facility. Last year, then Atlanta Falcons receiver Calvin Ridley was suspended for the entire 2022 season for betting on games over a 5-game stretch when he was away from the team. He was traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars as the trade deadline in November and reinstated this past March. Now, the NFL said last week that it planned to reinforce its gambling policy to players. All rookies will be required to attend mandatory education sessions, and a group of league officials is making in-person visits to team facilities to emphasize and clarify what activities are prohibited amid the rapid proliferation of sports gambling. You can't miss it anywhere. It's there. So the 6 key rules of the gambling policy the league officials will emphasize are: 1, don't bet on NFL games; 2, don't gamble at your team facility while traveling for a road game or staying at a team hotel; 3, don't have someone bet for you; 4, don't share team inside information; 5, don't enter a sports book during the NFL playing season; and 6, don't play daily fantasy football. Now, 11 players, at least one assistant coach, and an undisclosed number of league personnel have been suspended for violating the NFL gambling policy since 2018. And so we've talked about this gambling piece kind of in detail, and want to go back to it again. I know I've been saying that it's just, to me, it's very hypocritical. That's why I said, do as I do, not as I say. And do as I say, not as I do. I just really feel that the league, the owners are getting billions of dollars from these online sports books, from your DraftKings and from your others, but they are expecting the players not to bet, not to do these. And now, do I think a player should bet on his own game? No. But it's probably being done, and some people are not being caught. But them taking this money, but then trying to restrict the players from not doing it as well, I think it's very hypocritical. It's kind of like, to me, Calvin, this has never happened to me, but I've had some friends that this happened to. Like one time I had a friend, he got caught smoking his parents' cigarettes, and they made him smoke several cigarettes as punishment. Now I'm like, okay, you're smoking cigarettes and you got cigarettes in the house, but I'm not supposed to smoke, but you can smoke. Or that person, they got caught drinking out of their parents' stash, and the parent makes them drink an unlimited amount of drinks and stuff. Okay, you can have alcohol in the house, but if I have alcohol, it's wrong. So you can drink, but I can't. And to me, that's what it's saying in the NFL. It's like, okay, us owners, yeah, we can go ahead and get this money, but the players, no, you guys can't bet, don't do any of those things. And so to me, it comes off very hypocritical. What are your thoughts about this gambling, these suspensions, and these rules?
Well, starting off with the scenario, I was in that scenario, not with the smoking, but I got caught with some bottles and James in one of my closets. I don't even know why my mother was in my closet. I was at bottles and James. I was in high school, and of course, I'm gonna call your father. My father came over, and we were sitting down, and my father looked at my mother and was like, "I mean, you drink, I drink." Right. He's around drinking all the time. What do you expect? Like,
yeah, what are you expecting?
Yeah, he's underage. He shouldn't drink. But what are we going to do? Like, I can't sit here and be. And he literally said, I can't sit here and be hypocritical. Like, you should never ever drink. It's not good for you. But he sees me and you drinking all the time. So, and another thing, just so everybody, we're not advocating that you make your kids drink a ton or smoke a lot when you catch them, because you will go to jail.
Right.
This ain't 1970s, 80s, and 90s. Right. You will go to jail for that. But no, it is absolutely hypocritical. However, there are certain things that there's a certain point where you have to put the onus on the player. So gambling on the NFL, you shouldn't be doing. That should be common sense. Walking inside of a sports book, just for the perception of it, that should be common sense. Having someone place bets for you on the NFL should be common sense. And the one that's real tricky to me is the one where you should not be able to gamble in the facility, or you shouldn't be using the daily. I mean, that's so
Yeah,
difficult.
you shouldn't be gambling on the road, and you shouldn't be gambling
Exactly.
in the team hotel.
Yeah, that's that's hypocritical, and that's kind of difficult. I mean, the more years we go in and the more they start enforcing that, if you start getting caught, then it's on you. But right now, a lot of these were caught last year. I mean, they're suspending them for some for the entire season. Like, I think you should give them a break. You would figure that if it, well, you can't even say that if it, because Calvin Ridley did. I was going to say if you are a real strong player on the team, you may not get the full punishment, but Calvin Ridley did, and I think Ridley got the full punishment because I think they perceived he was lying and he was actually betting on NFL games.
Right.
But it's still hypocritical. They are taking the money. The only way to stop it is to not take the money and let these guys gamble, because before this daily wagering, I'm sure a lot of them were gambling in the team facility, maybe calling bookies and things like that and getting them bets in. But yeah, it's kind of hypocritical. It's just one of them things where you're looking at the NFL kind of like, I mean, come on. Give them a break if they're not betting on the NFL. Prime example, and I heard this on the podcast, they have this golf challenge coming up with Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah, and the thing is, can they bet on that? Because technically it's an NFL regulated event.
Right.
It's just not football, but it's an NFL event. So could they bet on that? So it's you just, I don't know. It's so sticky, but the NFL is just, what do you want to do? Billionaires making decisions for millionaires. You know what I mean? This is one of them. The only thing for us is it does hurt your team. You can look at these players and say, well, they're not players that we really care about. They're not big names. But one of the biggest things that we find in the NFL is depth. And when you start suspending players that are second and third strings, your team, when these injuries start hitting mid-season, that depth is lost. Those special teams, you can win and lose games in special teams. Look at Baltimore. Like, I mean, how many times well, of course, the past 2 years, Lamar's gone down, and then we have to go to the backup, but then the backup gets hurt. Then we got to go to the third string. It's like you have to look at this like, hey, this is hurting my team. You may not recognize the names because it's not too many people that can call out every name on the football roster, but these are guys that are on the team for a reason, and it is for depth, and you need that on your team. It is going to start hurting some of these teams.
Yeah, some of these stadiums are opening sports books inside of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so
There's
to
a
me,
franchise in Las Vegas now. I mean,
right, there's going to be a Super Bowl in Vegas. Yeah, and so to me, yeah, at the league, this is the bid that you made. You're lying in the bid that you made. You're taking this money. I mean, you're $1 billion corporation without the FanDuel money, but you've taken it, and now this is just, to me, it's opening Pandora's box for the league, for the players and everything, because it's a slippery scope, and excuse me, I said scope. It's a slippery slope, and I just I think once we start to see some more name players, let the Pat Mahomes of the world, the Lamar Jacksons of the world, the Aaron Rodgers of the world get caught in something like this, then maybe people might feel a little bit more differently about it. But
does
it's
this
kind of like,
extend to the owners and the general managers also?
yeah,
Like,
it looks like it is. Well, you had an undisclosed number of league personnel that have been suspended. We have not heard any announcement in terms of team owners or pro personnel in terms of
right,
general managers and things
right,
like
right.
that, and one assistant coach. But yeah, I mean, what's next? I mean, that's coming too. I'm sure. Someone, I think I heard Bomani said, hey, do you think that Roger Goodell has not gambled? Do you think
Exactly.
some of these big league executives have not played a parlay? And so
Exactly.
we're going to see. We're going to see it. So we'll see what happens with this. But if you're a player, Stay out the sports book. I don't want to see
Stay
you
out.
up in Perryville at the sports book when I go up there to watch a game. Just chill out. The hardest thing is going to be how are you going to enforce this when you're on the road or you stand? I mean, if I just get up and I leave the team hotel and I go across the street and I go ahead and place a bet, is that a violation?
I think it's a violation if you enter that sports book, and it's just so
No, I'm
it's
talking
so.
about if I have my phone, I'm at the team hotel, I'm not
Mhm.
at a sports book. I get up because they said while you're traveling on the road or staying in a team hotel. And so, well, okay, traveling on the road. I guess I can't if I'm
Yeah,
traveling on the road and I
as
leave
long
the
as
team
you're,
hotel.
I think as long as you're inside of your game week. This is game week
Okay.
for us, and I'm thinking as long as you're inside of game week, you should not be doing it. Which, unless it's a bye week, you shouldn't be doing it at all. And it would just make me as an NFL player just not do it.
Yeah,
I
it's just a
just
tough one. And we're
yeah.
in a generation where everybody's always in their phone. And you got these gambling apps on the phone. And so yeah, we're gonna see what happens with this. This is gonna be tough. All right, let's talk a little NBA, man. Everybody gets a bag. Oprah was giving out money the other day. Everybody's getting a bag. NBA free agency negotiation period officially began on Friday, with deals officially signed on July the 6th. But several big signings have taken. So let me read off a list. Draymond Green, he's going back to the Golden State Warriors on a 4-year, $100 million contract with a player option for the final season. Kyle Kuzma, he's going back to the Wizards on
Didn't
a
see that one coming.
did not see that one coming. $102 million deal to return to Washington. The Pacers, they signed former Denver Nuggets forward Bruce Brown to a 2-year, $45 million contract. The Trailblazers re-signed free agent forward Jer- Jerami Green. That's it right.
Jeremy.
Thank you.
Jeremy.
I can't read today. Jeremy Green. We need to have bloopers on this. Jeremy Grant to a 5-year, $160 million contract. Your boy Kyrie Irving, he really didn't have anywhere else to go, so he agreed to a 3-year, $126 million deal to return to the Mavericks. Chris
The
Middleton,
Dallas Lucas.
the Dallas Lucas. Chris Middleton, he's going back to Milwaukee. He's staying there on a 3-year, $102 million deal. Fred Van Fleet, he's going to the Houston Rockets on a 3-year, $130 million contract. Nice little signing. Russell Westbrook, he's returning to the LA Clippers on a 2-year, $7.8 million stay. All you had to do was
Boy,
leave him.
my how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, this dude was making big money. Now he's just getting a little bit of
That's like
scratch.
minimum wage for most of us.
Right, right. Right. Now the Lakers, they re-signed several players. Rui Hachimura, he's going back to the Lakers. Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell all signed good deals. And they signed free agents Cam Reddish, Gabe Vincent, and Jackson Hayes. And the Charlotte Hornets guard all-star LaMelo Ball agreed in principle on a 5-year designated rookie max extension that could be worth as much as $260 million. Ball joins 2020 NBA draft classmates Tyrese Halliburton and Desmond Bain with max deals. And so my first question to you, Calvin, is: did the Lakers, did the Lakers win the NBA offseason?
I mean, unless somebody like the Heat get a Dame, the Lakers definitely won. The Lakers. So and it's hard to say who won because it's not like they really signed stars. They just signed depth and they just signed some of the things that were needed. They kept a lot of that core together, which they definitely had to. Glad to see Rui come back. Absolutely glad to see Austin Reeves come back. But then you add a little more in there. You get some more scoring in there. So I think they did very well, maintaining the integrity of last year's Western Conference Finals team, and then adding a couple more shooters in there. So I think they did very well with their
I think they resisted temptation, which is good. We got to give Rob Pelinka a whole lot of credit. I mean, that mid-season trade at the deadline where they got Hachimura and they got pieces that fit in there
Mhm.
really helped them in that run. It's the type of team that you have to have around LeBron. You only need one additional quote unquote alpha player, and you
Mhm.
need some great role players outside setup shooters. who can hit the three, who can play off the ball, and are going to play some defense. Those are the type of players. That's the type of team where LeBron has been his most successful at.
And the
And
only real starter you lost is Dennis.
yeah, Dennis Schroeder.
Is Dennis Schroeder. Now,
You mad about that?
no, I'm not mad about Schroeder. You know what I'm mad about. I'm mad about re-signing Mr. Brick in the playoffs. He's a great regular season player. The 2 years, 45 million. Gosh,
D'Angelo Russell.
yeah, Russell. Just
He had a bad low. Now he did play well against.
played well in the regular season.
Yeah, he played well in the regular season, and I think he played well in the Golden State series.
He played well in Golden State
He
series.
played
I'll give
well
him
in the
that.
Golden.
I'll give him that.
I forgot he was still on the team when they played the Nuggets, but he played well in the Golden State series. Yeah, he's kind of hit or miss, but he really fits their profile. And I mean, he's enough to get you through that regular season. I think
that's the thing.
bench gets shorter in the playoffs, and maybe
he
if
can
he's
get
not
the
contributing,
he can help get the Lakers to the playoffs. But in the playoffs, we need you to show up, young man. Just show up, young man.
So I think everybody was giving it to the Suns because last week's trade with Brad Beal and everything, and I don't know. I think the Lakers, they have definitely improved that team. Now it's going to be on the health of LeBron and AD. And that's really going to be the driver. Are you going to get a healthy LeBron for 82 games? I mean, not saying he has to play every game, but you don't want him missing extended time because of injury.
Exactly.
And AD, I mean, you'd be lucky if you get 50, but if you could get 55 or 60 games out of AD and he avoids some real big injuries, I mean, I think that's a team you're really going to have to pay a lot of attention to. And so, good pickups for the Lakers. I'm glad they just resisted to try to trade everything to get Kyrie because it was out there, but they would think it's smart, and so good deal for them. I do like the pickup of Fred VanVleet to Houston. Houston, they got a nice little young core down there. They're getting a good veteran guard who's won an NBA championship. I would love to really see what happens for him down there. I think Kyle Kuzma coming back to DC. It's going to be, we're talking about Phoenix scoring a lot of points. I mean, you're going to have pool party and you're going to have Kuzma on that team. Oh my God! There's going to be shots in the air. You're talking about balls in the air. Pause. It's going to be a lot of balls in the air in DC, and so Kuzma, Kuzma, and Poole. I don't think they've ever met a shot that they did not like, and so I'm really wanting to see. And I think they picked up on some little pieces to put here or there. They got some veterans that they picked up along in those trades and stuff, and so. You never know. In a weak Eastern Conference, they could sneak in and get a play-in or a little higher. Go ahead.
I could see him with a play-in spot.
In an Atlantic division with Orlando, Atlanta, they've traded away John Collins. I mean, you got some Miami Heat. It depends. Last year, we really pretty much thought they were going to be a 1 seed. And they limped into the play-in. And so, there's no telling what happens with them. If they get Dame, then yes, they're the class. But if they don't get Dame, the Wizards could sneak up in there.
You think Dame makes them the class over the Boston Celtics? They just added Porzingis.
Porzingis, come on, bro. I mean,
Porzingis. Listen, I'm trying to.
He's a unicorn. That still has
trying to tell you.
He still has this Nick dust. Everybody thinks he's still in New York. This guy, he hasn't done nothing in the league.
He doesn't have to be a star in Boston. That's the thing. All he has to do is clog the middle up, which he can do, and just drop. He can be a Rudy Gobert type player. Not as good as Gobert, but if he can be a Rudy Gobert type player in Boston, I'm trying
to Porzingis or not calling him a Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert is actually a pretty decent Rudy Gobert is a pretty decent defensive blocking
He's okay.
and get you some points player. Rudy Gobert is actually pretty good.
Let's
Y'all
not
hate Rudy
forget.
Gobert. Rudy
Let's
Gobert
not
is
forget
not
this
a
is the
bad
guy
player.
that spread COVID in the league.
Well, no, he's a dick, but he's not a bad player.
This is the guy that rubbed all the mics out about. I'm not afraid of COVID.
he's
That night they
he's
canceled all the
definitely
games.
he's definitely an ass, but he's not a bad player.
I don't know about
I actually
Porzingis.
think the addition of Porzingis with Boston helps take them over the
I
top.
don't know. I don't know about
Yeah.
Missoula, and
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know
Well,
about
yeah.
Missoula,
Yeah.
and I want
Yeah.
to. I don't. I mean, Porzingis. Yes, he had his best season last year, but I mean, Porzingis has been on some good teams, and he has not really had that type of impact. I mean, he was on a good Mavs team with
Yeah,
Luca,
but
and he was on
had
a
to
good New York
be
team with
he had to
Melo.
be the 1 or 2 scorer on all of those teams. He doesn't have to be that on Boston. I'm
Okay,
trying to tell you.
all right, all
Trying to
right.
tell you.
We'll see. We shall see. We shall see. I think also um this Kyrie, really it was just a thing of Kyrie. You just didn't really have anywhere to go. There was no
Right.
market for you to
Right.
go, and you had to go back to Dallas. But I think Draymond coming back again, they already knew that when they traded Poole, that Draymond was coming back. They knew they were, to me, I don't know any other team where Draymond is the fit, and anybody was going to give Draymond $100 million just to rebound and to scream at teammates and stuff. And so, Draymond's value is in Golden State. And
Absolutely.
I think that was a great pickup. They're trying to run the old team back, and so they got their core. They picked up Chris Paul. We see how this is a make or break. I think for Kuminga and the other players, Moody. And so you see what you have because you already traded away Wiseman, and I don't think there's much there. They lost Dante DiVincenzo to the Knicks, and so they're going to have to find some pieces to build up on that team. So we'll see what happens with them. All right, let's talk a little bit more now. Ahead of the start of free agency, 76ers guard James Harden, he exercised his $35.6 million option for the 23-24 season, clearing the way for the team and the 10-time All-Star to work together on finding a trade. The Sixers started making calls on Harden trades as it became clearer that he wouldn't be declining the option in entering free agency. And so among the teams expected to have an interest in acquiring Harden are the Clippers and the Knicks. Star guard, as we've already mentioned, Damian Lillard, has requested a trade from the Trailblazers with his preferred landing place to be Miami. The Heat, Clippers, and Sixers are three teams that have an interest in trading for Lillard. In addition, he has a strong respect for the San Antonio Spurs as an organization. So there's a thought that, hey, maybe if San Antonio puts something together, they had Wembanyama, they have one of the greatest coaches in the game, and Pop might be a landing place for him. I don't know if he necessarily gets a championship going there immediately. There'll probably be a couple year process for that, but you never know. And so, the realistic landing spaces for Harden and Dame Dollar.
So I know they've always talked about him going back to Houston. I just never understood why he would want to go
Harden
back there. Yeah, I just never understood why he would want to go there. I actually think
strippers,
well,
strip
okay.
clubs.
I actually think, I don't know why they would want to trade him to the Knicks. It just wouldn't make competition sense.
Right.
I actually think he's going to stick with the Sixers with see what Nick Nurse is going to do up there,
Yeah,
and I think he's going to stick with the Sixers.
sure.
When it comes to Dame needs to absolutely get out of there. They're talking about trading Hero and what's the other white boy there?
Duncan Robinson.
Robinson, and a couple draft picks and another
Mhm.
package for Dame. I actually see that happening. If you add Dame to the Miami Heat, I'm thinking they're going to be a problem. I'm thinking they're going to be a big problem again in the East. So I would like to see Dame in Miami. I would like to see Dame somewhere that has a chance to actually win a ring this season. So
Sure,
I
sure.
think that'd be good.
I like to see Harden with the Clippers. I think him going to LA. Everybody wants to be in LA with George, with Paul George, and with Kawhi. I think that's a team right there. He's played with Westbrook, and so they're familiar with playing with each other when they were on the Thunder. I think that's a real good team in the West. I mean, that's
Wait,
a
wait,
stacked
wait,
team.
wait, wait, wait,
What?
wait, 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 wait.
What?
Just let me make sure I get this straight because when my man Russell came to the Lakers, all I heard you say was, who else gonna get the ball? You can't give the ball to AD, LeBron, and Russell Westbrook. That's all you was talking about. How Russell Westbrook was a
He
ball hog.
he
So
is.
you think he already got to share the ball because Paul George and Kawhi Leonard will be expected to be healthy. So he's
Sure.
already going to have to share the ball with them being healthy. And James Harden, you think James Harden on the Clippers they would have to get rid of Russ? Russ
You
and
think? Well, I
remember,
mean, he
remember,
still
I
came in
told
and took
you
a
Russ
took a
should come
relief
off the
role last
bench in
year.
the Lakers. I said
Yeah.
Russ should come off the bench. You killed me. You was like Westbrook coming off the bench. What are you smoking? Westbrook ain't coming off nobody's bench. So what you trying? You think he gonna come off the bench for the Clippers? Is that
No,
what you saying?
he's going to start. But what I think is this. I think because he's been through this transition. I'll say this. I think it's coaching. I think the respect that they have for Ty Lue and Ty Lue's system. If he doesn't play to what Ty Lue needs in terms of he's not the main scorer on that team. When he got there last year, after on the waiver pickup, after he got released by the Lakers, I mean, he had to play within that system, knowing that Paul George is the man, knowing that Kawhi Leonard is the man. And so I think if they brought in a James Harden, he would have to, they would have to adjust those roles. Um, it's a
Bro,
possibility. I think they could come together. I
I
think it would be a good team.
I did all these scenarios with you when he was with the Lakers. You weren't trying to hear.
The Lakers, I just
Somehow
think
he go to the Clippers, and it's like, oh yeah, he could do this. He could.
I
Come
think
on,
it's this. See, the Lakers is this. It's more based on LeBron. LeBron is a ball centric player. LeBron has to have the ball, and to
James
have
Harden. James Harden.
I'm not in the sense of LeBron. I'm saying this: the offense runs through LeBron. I think if Harden was on that team, it would be different because you have Paul George, you have Kawhi, and I just think the system that Lou runs, it would be a better fit. Um, I just didn't think it was a good fit of LeBron, and I just didn't think that was a good fit.
I
I
just,
think it
I,
would be a better fit with Harden.
I
Yeah,
just, I just want you to
and to
remember.
me, I don't even consider Russ the impact player. If Harden lands on that Clippers team, to me, I'm not even looking at Westbrook as the impact player. It's Paul George and it's Kawhi Leonard.
That's what I said when he was with the Lakers. You still weren't trying to hit. And I don't know if maybe you forgot this. That Ty Lue system
Yeah,
is the same as the LeBron James system because that's where they got it from one another when they coached.
bro. It just Russell
Sir,
Westbrook just wasn't a
I'm
good
just
piece. He wasn't a good piece for that team. He
let me
wasn't a
give
good
you
piece for that team.
let me give you an example of how you acted now. You know how you remember when you would get caught drinking and your parents would be like, you gonna drink, and it might be hypocritical. This is how you acted now. Remember we talked about that in the first segment. This
Yes,
is how you act.
yes. We're gonna see.
I said all of this when he was with the Lakers. You want to try.
He was horrible
Now,
with the Lakers,
what
and
I
I don't
will
think he was that
say,
much better when he was with the Clippers. But I think the Clippers are bringing him back because the defensive energy that he brings, and he does have some intangibles. He's not the same player he was when he was at OKC. He's not the same player. I'm talking about Westbrook when he was in Houston. And so, was he in Houston? Yeah, he was in
He
Houston
was
for a
he
minute.
was in Houston for about a season or two.
Yeah, for about a season or
Um,
two. And so I think it's a different type of Westbrook player. I just didn't think that was a good team the Lakers had. I mean, because you just had a guy who's always injured, a guy who's can't shoot, and you had LeBron basically carrying the team by himself.
well, you still got a guy a guy that's always injured in Kawhi.
Yeah.
I personally think Paul George is kind of overrated. But I think he's a good player.
Ooh.
However, let me tell you this. Now, I'm giving you a hard time, but I tend to agree with you. Another thing I agree with you with, especially
Ain't
when
this
it
a
comes
mess? You
to
agree with me?
no, I agree with you. But I tried to tell you this with the Lakers. Same thing. You just think I just had to give you a hard time for not agreeing with me then.
Okay. Okay.
But what I will say, another thing is Russell Westbrook is making a veteran's minimum right now. So he has no reason to really try to show off. Like he's not playing for more money. When he was with the Lakers, he was making what 45 million
Yeah,
for
he's
that
making a
season.
lot of money.
Yeah, he's not making that kind of money now. So I think the writing is on the wall. You're if you didn't know before, you're at the end of your career now.
Right.
So we
Right.
just need you to do this. We don't need you to do more than that. You add somebody like a James Harden to that. Russell Westbrook would either actually have to be a normal point guard, a true point guard, if he's going to start, or he's going to have to come off the bench behind Harden. He can't be the Russell Westbrook that he was. Now he will get those opportunities because we know Kawhi doesn't stay healthy. We know James Harden likes to take games off,
Even
and
Paul
Paul
George
George
doesn't
is
stay
come.
healthy. We
Exactly. I
can
was
put
about to
him
say
in that
Paul George is
category as
coming
well.
back from a season where he wasn't healthy towards the
Mhm.
end of the season. So
Mhm.
he may still get those opportunities, but I tend to agree with you with that. But I still
All
had
right.
to give you a hard time for not agreeing with me when I said the same thing when he was with the Lakers.
It didn't sound right when you said it. It sounded more right when I said it. That what you said. So we'll see. So NBA, a lot of movement, a lot of signings, and so we'll see what happens come the fall when these teams finally start playing basketball and stuff. I believe it's some veterans. Derrick Rose, he was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, so they're trying to get their change people to put around Ja. I don't know if that necessarily makes them better, but we'll see. And
Marcus
your boy
Smart makes
Dylan
them better.
Brooks, yeah, Marcus Smart does though. And your boy Dylan Brooks, he signed with Houston, and so
Yeah, I think he
yeah,
got 20 million. He got 20
yeah,
million a year. He signed what a 2-3 year contract,
mm-hmm,
20 million a year. I was shocked. I was like, okay, somebody,
yeah.
somebody giving him another chance to be a
City
loudmouth,
Girls,
awful player. City
mm-hmm,
girls
City
back
Girls.
up.
Yeah, City Girls is back up. City Girls is back up. So City Girls is in Houston now. All right, let's talk a little baseball. Now, the All Star game starters were announced this past week, and the Texas Rangers is sending a franchise record 4 starters to the All Star game in Seattle next month, the most of any major league team. The top club in the AL West will have a starter at all the infield positions, save first base, as catcher Jonah Heim and rookie third baseman Josh Young are are appearing as first-time All-Stars. They'll join the shortstop Corey Seager and second baseman Marcus Simeon. It's Seager's 4th All-Star appearance, while Simeon is an All-Star career. The final round of voting was announced on Thursday evening and revealed 3 starters from the Atlanta Braves and Los Angeles. While the ML leading um, Tampa Bay Rays have 2 starters. Baltimore Orioles catcher Adley Rushman made the final vote for catcher, but lost to Heim in the final vote. And so did Adley get jerked?
I mean, so they want to blame the fans, but I don't think they wanted to start Adley Rushman anyway. But I so I'm always a person when it comes to All-Star, I never believe anyone gets snubbed. I just believe, you're either good or you're not good. If you make it, this whole thing about they need to start, they need to start. If you think about it, it ain't the starters, especially when it comes to like baseball. It's who ends the game that decides the game. Like it's not who starts the game, it's who
True,
ends the game. So
true.
that was one thing they were talking about where Adley and Felix may be on the field at the same time at the end of the All-Star game if the American League is leading and they bring in Felix, who actually did well today. He held on to that 2-1 lead because you know how I feel about him. I've texted you about him a couple times. But yeah, so
Interesting.
they may actually end the All-Star game with the win. That battery of Bautista and Rushman. So
Mhm.
I don't think he got jerked. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think so. The thing about, and I hate this about the All Star voting is, yes, it is fan centric, it's fan driven, and if your stadium is not selling out, you're not going to get your player in, and that's plain and simple. I mean, there were no Orioles that outside of Rushman that really made that final breakdown to the vote of the two players. And I mean, they've had a pretty good team this year. I mean, Santander and
yeah,
a couple other people have played very well.
Hayes played
Hayes,
well.
Mullins was playing well before
Yeah,
his injury. I mean, but if you're not consistently packing out your stadium and you have fans, but also fans can vote off. They don't have to go to the stadium. I remember when we were younger, you had to go to the stadium. They gave you
and
the
get the
punch card
card, fill the
and
card out,
stuff.
give
Fill
it
the
to the
card
usher
out.
at the end. Yeah,
I'm like, they must be filling these out in the back because it ain't no way that someone is punching these many votes for. When you see a million votes for a player, I'm like, come on, yo. But yeah, I don't think he got jerked either. But as fans, I guess maybe we didn't do our job of voting him in. But it was good to see at least one player made it to the finals. I'm sure he's going to be. They're announcing reserves today, I believe, and so hopefully he's selected as a reserve, and we see a couple of our relief pitchers as reserves as well. Now, as a kid, I remember growing up, I really cared about the All Star game in some sense because, it was really, really the only chance before interleague play that you got to see National League players. If you're in American League City like Baltimore,
hmm
I mean, most of our watching on TV, I mean, you did not have, sports networks that were broadcasting games. I mean, sometimes you got a Saturday game. I remember when they used to have Monday night baseball. That was a long time ago as well, but I was young. I didn't necessarily stay up to watch it. And so you were not seeing the Dodgers all the time. You were not seeing the Phillies or some of these other or the Braves and stuff like that. You're really just seeing American League teams. And so it did give you that opportunity outside of the game of the week to see some good National League players. Is this a game we really should care about anymore?
So it's so funny that we're talking about this because I thought about it and I know it was a topic on some of the sports stations and podcasts this week. And the point was made, which is so true. And this actually goes back to the Orioles and All-Star voting. You care about your team. Baseball as a whole, it's so difficult to keep up with because even though the games have been shortened and there have been some different rules in the game, it's still overall a pretty taxing, I don't want to say boring, but a pretty taxing game to watch on TV if you don't have a vested interest in the game. When you talk about these all-star voting where Adley Rushman was going up against someone else outside of Baltimore, no one
Yeah,
really
who's
knows who
Rushman?
Austin Hayes is
Right.
or Adley Rushman or
Mhm.
Gunnar Henderson, names that we're looking at now, like
Right.
these guys are good. You barely know Cedric Mullins, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he's probably the most popular nationwide Oriole, but he's not the most popular local Orioles.
Sure.
So baseball is such a different game when you get outside of your home team. So yes, we should care about baseball as a whole, but you care more about your team and what your team is doing. Whereas, football, if the Ravens aren't playing, that's fine. You'll watch any football team.
Mhm.
But you won't watch any if the Orioles aren't playing. I'm not cutting on Sunday night baseball to watch the Yankees and the Red Sox, even though you
For
try
the
to tell
15th
me
time. Yeah.
what their history is.
Right.
But
You watch it.
so Derek Jeter isn't playing. Nomar
Right.
Garcia Perez isn't playing. Pedro Martinez, Big Poppy.
Mhm.
None of these guys that were bigger than the sport are playing anymore. So I'm not really watching that. I have no real interest in it. I care about my team. So as a whole, you want to care about baseball because you want to know where your team stands as far as can they make these playoffs, this and that. But it's just not. It's not the same. It's America's pastime, but maybe America's pastime is past its time. That
Sure.
may be a great
Sure.
title for
I
the
like that.
podcast. Might be a great title for
America's
pastime. Yeah.
pastime is past this time. As a matter of fact, that goes right into talking about Shohei Otani. Of course, if you're not a baseball fan, you may not know that Otani is having a season for the record books. And uh, there's talk that he will not only be the highest played, paid player in baseball history, but perhaps one day the greatest to ever play the game. Otani just had the best June in MLB history, even better than Babe Ruth. He leads the major leagues in home runs, triples, RBIs, slugging percentage, on base percentage, total bases, and unsurprisingly, is lapping the field in WAR. Also, um, he's on the mound. He's 7-3 with a 3.02 ERA, a 1.04 WHIP, and 127 strikeouts, and 95 in the third innings. He has the lowest hit rate and the highest strikeout rate in the major leagues and in the American League, respectively. Now, here you have this player, Calvin. I mean, this guy is a once in a lifetime player, a person who's hitting and pitching. This is the dream. As little league, this is the dream of little league. When you're playing little league baseball, you had a guy who's a great pitcher and a great hitter as well. But we never saw it at the major league level, at least in our lifetime. And now we're seeing it. But it's like I don't think people will have Otani in their top 10 athletes of all time. I don't know if people there's no buzz around this. There's no excitement about this. And it kind of builds into what you're saying that, if you're following your own team, but I can't tell you the only time I've seen Otani play was when the Angels came to Baltimore and he pitched that first game of that open series. I think he hit a home run and he won that game pitching. But outside of that, I have not sat down to find a game with Otani playing, pitching, or hitting. And I think the last time I felt that way about a player might have been Bonds when Bonds was chasing the home run record and when he hit 73 that year, and then when he broke Hank Aaron's record. But outside of that, you know, how come Otani is not appointment viewing?
You definitely have to be a baseball fan to know who he is and want to see him. I'm a baseball fan. I saw him play the Orioles last year. He pitched. The Orioles actually rocked him, and they struck him out 3 times. He went 1 for 4. He finally got a hit in his last at bat, but they struck him out 3 times. And I saw him this year where he pitched a gem against the Orioles, and I believe he hit 2 home runs. I think he
That's
went
right. He
4
hit
for
2
5.
runs. Yeah,
He went 4 for 5 that game. So I was at that game.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes to town, he's must see TV for me, or must see in the stadium. You're right, though. I'm not going to cut on the TV to watch him. Now, the benefit that California, well, let me back up. The disadvantage that the Angels have is that they are on the West Coast. So a lot of those games are starting at 10 o'clock our time. So, he's coming up for free agency this year. It's almost a given that he's going to go to a major market team because of the prime time atmosphere that they're going to want him to have and get more exposure. And he's going to make almost $1 billion. I think he's going to be somewhere up in the 600, maybe $700 million range. But a benefit that California has is not only do they have Shohei, but they also have Mike Trout, who by most experts was the best player in baseball for a number of years prior to Shohei coming in. And nobody watched him either. But he was a common name. Now, Mike Trout was one of those players that if you heard the name, if you were just a casual baseball fan, you knew Mike Trout was a common name, just like a Bryce Harper. Now you may not know Bryce Harper now plays for the Phillies. You might not know that, you know what I mean, if you're not keeping up, but you're familiar with the name, even if you're a casual fan. But yeah, baseball is just one of those sports where it's really local. I think having 162 games also makes it a little difficult to keep up with. Another thing with when you compare it to like football, football comes on once a week. Your team is playing once a week. Now, of course, you're going to watch it different days a week. You got Sunday, Monday, Thursday, sometimes Saturday, but you're playing once a week and you can gamble on it. Fantasy football is huge. Fantasy football is huge for you to get to know all of the players. If you ever try to play fantasy basketball, it's probably the worst unless you're a huge basketball fan, because you can get a guy to sign for a 10-day contract. If you're not changing your lineup every day, it's horrible. But basketball is nonstop action. And these past 2 years, the playoffs have been amazing for basketball. So I think that's going to help viewership for the NBA. Baseball, they've picked up the timing, but it's still a taxing sport to watch. It's just it's really taxing to watch.
It is. You know, excuse me, as you say that, I hope he doesn't end up with the Yankees. I hope he does not end up with the Mets. I would love to see him. I don't want him to be with the Dodgers either. I would love to see him like maybe in Chicago or something. What
But
other
it's
big
so
market? Atlanta, maybe
it's so difficult
a
because
Texas team. I don't know.
there's no salary cap in baseball, and it's all about what the owners are willing to pay. There's no cap. So he could go to the Yankees and be part of that strong lineup that they already have.
I mean, I think he
You
has
don't want him
30
to,
home runs
but
already. Yeah,
I bet
imagine how many
MLB
home
wants him
runs.
to.
Yeah, I mean, imagine how many home runs he would hit in Yankee Stadium. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
and the media overkill
you
with
know, I
that.
wanted him. I want him to come to Baltimore. Someone was like, "Well, if he comes to Baltimore, they're going to have to get rid of." This is not football. All they got to do is open up the purse strings. There's no salary cap. They don't have to get rid of anyone unless they're just trying to save money.
Well, I
Uh,
heard the issue why he won't come to Baltimore though is there's a debate of which side of town has the best Chinese food. Is it West Baltimore or if it's East Baltimore? And he doesn't want to get caught up in that.
I would, I would sit here and say and defend the Asians, but the Asians are the ones that help push affirmative action out the door. So you are absolutely right.
Oh
That's
man.
exactly why he ain't coming,
Mhm.
because we don't know what side. You know what? Let me chill before we get canceled. But I'm not
Yeah, you
rocking with you.
better.
I'm not
This
rocking
this
with you Asian Americans right
we're
now.
not against we're
Y'all
not
are
against the Asian Americans on this program. Last week we were talking about some risque stuff. And
Y'all are shooting y'all are shooting yourselves in the foot, thinking that y'all doing something to help
oh
y'all.
Lord,
So they don't like y'all either. They
let me keep
don't
on
like
going.
y'all either.
Let me keep on going.
They
Yeah,
don't.
so
Why do y'all think y'all gonna get in? They don't like y'all either. And if it wasn't for
anyway, so back to East Baltimore and West Baltimore Chinese food. Which side of town has the best Chinese food?
so it's hard to say because I can name a couple on each side of town. What I will say is the best Chinese food, and I think if you're from Baltimore, everyone knows this. It's in the bulletproof, dirty little spots. So there was this spot. I don't know if it's still there. It's off of on Fulton Avenue, rather. Well, it might be Pennsylvania Avenue at that end. Right before you get to North Avenue, between Mondawmin and North Avenue, right next to what used to be the Fox's Den. Across the street, there's the 24-hour barbershop.
I know exactly.
Is that still there?
Yeah.
Oh my God. They had the best fucking Chinese food when I was younger. I don't know if I haven't been there in over 20 years, but they had the best. Oh my gosh.
I used to swear it was a spot that was on Rogers Avenue in Park Heights. That I used to
right down the
swear
street from. I'm going there tomorrow.
right across from the Jamaican spot. I
I'm going
used
there
to
tomorrow.
swear by this spot, and when I started dating Paula, my wife,
Is it
she's
still
from the
there?
East Brother. No, I don't think. The last time I rode through the neighborhood, it was gone. It's not there.
Because that's around the corner from me. The only
It looked
Chinese
real
spot.
sketchy.
The only Chinese spot near me that's sketchy now is right off of Ricerstown Road and Rogers Avenue. It's
Okay,
on
that's
the corner of
further out.
Rice, right across from the fire station. It's one
Yes.
right there in the middle of like a
Yeah.
beauty
Oh yeah, I know
supply
exactly.
store
I've never
and a
been to
cell
that
phone
one.
store.
Yes, I
I've
know
never been
exactly
there
what
because
that is.
that looks sketchy to me. But on the other end, I just think there's just Jamaican places
Yeah,
there
it's
in the
just
corner
Jamaican
store.
spot because it used to be there. The last
Okay.
time I rode through the neighborhood, it's not there anymore.
Okay.
And my wife, she's an East Sider, so she used to swear by Yao Brothers that was on Greenmount Avenue, off of 29th. Yeah, she swore by
Yes.
Yao. Yeah, by Yao
There's
Brothers.
there's one that I used to go to that was on 33rd, right off of Greenmount, but right around the corner from the 7-Eleven. Well, 7-Eleven is
Yeah. I know exactly right there.
it's
On that.
right there. It was next to a hair place. And the only and I used to actually order from there, and I swear, and this sounds so racist, I swear I used to hang up the phone, and I swear the guy rode his bike there and would be knocking on my door as soon as I hung up the phone. Little Asian guy be like, "I'm here for your order," and that food would be so goddamn good. I swear to God, he was riding. He was riding the bike. He was riding the bike.
But yeah, one time, so we went to Yao Brothers and we got some shrimp fried rice, and the shrimp was like real small. I was like, nah,
little baby shrimps.
Little baby shrimps. I'm like, they're not even developed. Like they got these as embryos. I'm like, let me take you over to Northwest Baltimore and get you some real shrimp fried rice. She got over there with them big old shrimp, boy. Every time she was on that side of town, honey, I'm over here near the Chinese spot. She got addicted to that spot. So yeah. I always say West Baltimore, Northwest Baltimore had the best Chinese food.
I can the spots I'm talking about, except for the one on 33rd, which is technically, well, it's technically east because it's not Charles Street, so it's technically east. It's more northeast, east rather. But the one, so we go to one now that's off of Cold Spring Lane and Falls Road, Cold Spring and Falls Road. It's right on the corner, and it's not bad. It's not the best I've ever had,
exactly.
but it's not.
Next to the gas station.
It's it's in the corner all by itself. It's right across. If you're at Johns Hopkins University and you come down, I want to say that's 32nd Street, but it turns into Falls.
Cold Spring and Falls.
I said Cold Spring and Falls. I should have said Falls and gosh, I can't remember the name of the actual street.
You got to be a Baltimorean for this one, though.
It's called. Well, you know how they all call A1. It's called Best Chinese Food. So you know how they all name A1.
That's the name for all of
number
them.
one Chinese food. A+ Chinese food is called Best Chinese food. Which, by the way, fun fact, I worked for the Yellow Pages for a number of years. Businesses do that. They used to do that so they could be listed first in the phone book, because when people were searching, they would go to the front and they would call from the front. So you always had a lot of businesses called AAA Plumbing Service or A1 Plumbing Service. That's why, so they could have been first in the phone book. Again, I'm not defending Asians, so not today.
We do not want any special warnings on this broadcast. All right, so we'll come to a segment that everybody loves as we close out the show. Come on, yo. So Calvin, it's on you to start us off.
Yeah, man. So this one is going to go to my Ravens, a player on my beloved Ravens. And this player is named J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins is talking about he might be holding out because, first of all, he blamed the Ravens for playing him in the preseason where he got hurt last year and he missed most of the regular season. He's still mad at the Ravens for not giving him the ball against the Bengals, where we would have won that wild card game. And I'm with you on all of that, sir. All of it. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about holding out for more money. You ain't done nothing to deserve the money. I'm a players guy. I'm all for players getting all the money that they can, but I'm also for players getting all the money that they can after they've done something. JK, sir, you ain't play this year. This year is going to be your breakout year. And then tell the Ravens to kick rocks. Go somewhere else and get all your money. But to hold out this year after you barely played last year and the year before, and I don't care what the reason is, but you cannot sit there and hold out against the Ravens like you deserve all this money. You're still kind of a mystery. We can see the greatness. We think you're going to be great. But come on, yo. You ain't played enough games to be, you're not Saquon Barkley. You ain't done nothing enough for us to be like, oh, yeah, you got to pay JK. We all looking at you like you ain't got to pay him. You just got to play him. Let him play first. And then once you play at your season, then you can say, no, with y'all. I need to go ahead and be a free agent and get whoever is the highest bidder. And I'm with you for that. But right now, sir, you playing it wrong. Come on, yo. Come on, JK. Stop that, yo. Stop that, yo. You trying to get some money for something you ain't even done yet. You don't get money on potential. That's what the rookie contract is. You trying to get big money for something you ain't even done yet. You ain't led the league in nothing but miss games. Miss games, sir. Come on, JK. Come on, yo.
Come on, yo.
That's it. That's it for me.
Hey, dude, you earned the contract by playing. Get out there and play. Just show them. To me, also, you talking all the stuff, but don't you know the value of the running back in
Exactly.
today's NFL is low? I mean, they don't want to play. They don't want to pay Saquon. They don't want to pay any of these running backs. I don't think we've seen a running back drafted in the top 10 in the last several years.
The guy this year that Atlanta drafted. Atlanta drafted him this year.
He was like 15. He was low. He
He was supposed to go. He might have gone top 10. They say he might be, but that's the only one.
Yeah.
That's the only one.
And that's the only one. So to me, it's like, dude, I mean, get out there and play and show the people your value. And if your value is here, the Ravens has shown that if you have value here and they think it's important to keep you, they will. And if they don't, then they're going to set you up to get to the next place. How many great running backs, Priest Holmes, and I'm thinking probably a couple other players as well that were great running backs here. They got the opportunity, went other places and blew up. And so if your home's going to be here, it's going to be here. If not, just
but you ain't even listen. Just like I'm on record as saying with Lamar, I don't even know if I wanted Lamar to resign because he'd be damned if he do, damned if he don't with the fans here. So I'm with you, JK. I'm on your side, sir. Most of us are on your side, but all we're saying is play the games first. Play the game, show who you are. And then when it's time to re-sign, when you go into your free agent market, if the Ravens come with an offer, be like, hey, we're going to make you the best offers. Tell them F them and go somewhere else for less money just to show them that you mad at them. But, sir, you ain't done nothing yet to be holding out like,
right.
Sir,
it's crazy.
They will replace you. They will replace you. And you will be holding out for it. Ask Le'Veon Bell how he felt about holding out. He finally came out and admitted not signing and taking that year off was the worst thing he ever did. He was never the same. He got all that big money to play with the Jets, but then his career went south. He was a backup, a third string backup for the Ravens. Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah. Come on, yo. Come on, JK. Stop the nonsense, yo. Stop the nonsense.
All right. Come on, yo. Come on, Supreme Court. Now, if you've been following the news the last several days, you'll find out that this very right-wing Supreme Court has made actually three major decisions that impact people of color across this country. One was the student loan forgiveness. They denied that. That was something that Biden was trying to enact, and they ruled that Congress could not pass and eliminate loan debt for students. And loans have greatly impacted African Americans' ability to go to college. If most African Americans are going to college, they're going through loans, secured or unsecured. And so it's a major funding source for Black people to get to the higher universities. Then, after that, they decided that schools could not, universities, public or private, could not use affirmative action or race as a factor in deciding on admissions for a student. This was a suit that was that had been brought on by this man. He has a organization where they've been attacking affirmative action for years. And so this year he was able to get Asian American applicants on this suit to be a part of his suit, and they were able to successfully challenge affirmative action. And because the court is severely leaning to the right, they've been affirmative action has been under attack for years. So we knew it was going to go away. And then finally, in a case that really didn't make any sense, a web designer was able to convince the court that they did not have to provide services to someone, may it be gay, lesbian, homosexual, if their morals or their religious viewpoints did not agree with their lifestyle, so they could deny the people service. But the crazy thing about that case is this was actually a made up case. This person did not have a business designing websites. There was not a couple who were wronged by trying to get any of these materials done. And so it was something really just done on a what if. What if a gay couple came in and asked me to do something that I felt was against my rights? I should have the right to say, no, I don't want to do it. And so we're just at a pivotal time in our country. And a lot of people are back to the affirmative action piece. People are saying, hey, maybe this would be a good thing for Black colleges because it's definitely going to affect African American students in their application to these universities. And our Black colleges should be ready. We've seen a burst in enrollment numbers, particularly, I know, in the state of Maryland, but across the country at HBCUs since the murder of George Floyd. And so our universities are already receiving a large amount of students, larger than in past years, because uh, our culture, our people were beginning to see the value in our institutions. Not, I'm not going to take my talents to the predominantly white institution. I'm going to take it to the HBCU, and maybe this might have that impact. Some people was concerned about how does it relate to sports because you have some of these athletes who are going to these universities as well, and so I think as I thought back to Calvin, something I said in one of our earlier come on yos, hopefully our institutions we're ready. We've had these last couple years to get ready because we see this change in our country in terms of their viewpoint of race and how they're going to treat race. And people, they want to come and support their universities to make their universities millions of dollars on the athletic fields or in the gyms or all of those things. They're going to start to see the value in the HBCU and they're going to want to come to the HBCU. And I hope we're ready. I hope we're ready facility wise. I hope our sports facilities are ready. Our academic facilities are ready. We have to be ready. So come on, yo. Come on, HBCUs. This is our time. This is our time. This is a great time to be ready to serve that influx. We're going to get an influx of students who are going to be ready to come. And I think sports wise, if we start building these facilities, maybe even online with what a lot of these predominantly white universities are doing because they're fighting over their own pot of money with NIL and how that's impacting their stuff. I think we can compete. And so we're going to see what happens over the next couple of years. But come on, yo. Let's not let these little rulings stop us. Let's get ready because we're about to see a downpour of talent, of a wealth of talent coming into our institutions. So let's get ready.
And another thing, white women benefit from affirmative action more than anyone else. So I don't even know why y'all always, every time something goes down, y'all try to blame it on black people. Asian American, we can't get into Harvard because it was affirmative action. It was given to a black student. No, it wasn't. You just weren't good enough, sir. It's okay to tell your family. I mean, your family, y'all Asian, so you might be a disgrace to the family. You might be the dude in the Karate Kid that lost to Danielson and was scared to go over and save the young lady. But that's who cares? Who cares? That's on you.
Yeah, I think one of the things I read, Calvin, is actually these legacies that is taking the spots. It's not African American students; it's the legacies who their parents went there or their great grandparents went there. It's staff, the children of the staff that work at the universities. It's legacy that is taking up at least 43% of the admission at these institutions. And so it's and so even if you had a perfect SAT or you had these other things to get into the university, you're competing against white privilege, not black people.
You know how when we try to get jobs at your little corner stores and y'all be like, oh no, we can't hire you because you hiring your family. That's what he's talking about. That type of legacy. Like
Pretty much,
y'all
y'all
just going to
passing
keep
that store,
yeah, y'all
getting a
just going to
cycle
keep
with your
passing it
family.
down. Y'all only hire us
Mhm.
for like security so we can, we can talk with the
Mhm.
other kids in the neighborhood. And one more thing. All of this, y'all remember back in 2016 when y'all felt like, oh, well, I'm not going to vote for anyone because Hillary's not good at
Oh
all, and
Lord,
I don't
don't
like
take me to
Donald Trump.
them.
And y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? This is why we're having this now because Donald Trump stacked the Supreme Court. So all of this
Mhm.
now, I don't want to hear it now. I don't want to hear all this. Well, why are they doing this and that? Because you decided, you and your crew decided that you didn't want to vote for Hillary. You didn't want to vote at all. So you just let Donald Trump go ahead and we're not even going to talk about the local courts that he stacked, but now we're at the Supreme Court and they're making decisions on scenarios. So basically, I should go to the Supreme Court and say, I feel like maybe somebody might rob me one day. So just because they may rob me, I think you should take all of their guns away just so I don't get robbed. Well, sir, have you ever been robbed? No, but it might happen one day. Okay, well, let's pass the gun laws. That's what she did. That's exactly what she did.
That's pretty much.
She don't even have a business.
Right. Just one day. And I agree with you, Calvin. It's kind of like, yeah, what oh, Hillary, she said we were super predators and burn these mealy mouths like Ice Cube and Killer Mike and all these people that was woofing we need black empowerment, and that's why I'm supporting this person. And bro, it's all about the courts. And we just saw what the courts are doing. And they had already weakened the Voting Rights Act before that. And so, yeah,
Have
we're turning back the clock.
Let
We're
me
not
check
turning
Twitter
back the
because
clock.
I don't
They
have we
are.
heard. Let me check Twitter. Have we
I ain't
heard
heard
from
from Ice
Killer
Cube.
Mike or
I ain't
Ice
heard
Cube
from Killer
since?
Mike or
Let me
Ice
hear.
Cube
Oh,
since.
wait a minute. I can't check Twitter till tomorrow because Elon Musk has decided that you can only look at so many per day. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
Listen,
sorry. These conservatives are they're just running the world. I'm sorry.
oh
I
my
can't.
God.
And by the way, I think a lot of people wanted to vote for Donald Trump because he was going to go ahead and take care of Hillary. Who's being prosecuted right now? Is it Hillary Clinton or
Yeah,
is it
because
Donald
Hillary,
Trump?
she was they were molesting those kids in the pizza.
Oh yeah.
Pizza
And
stand.
of course, what about her emails? What about them documents in the garage? What
Right.
about them documents? Oh, Joe Biden had documents too. You mean the ones that he turned back in? What about the
Right.
ones Donald Trump was secretly telling people on a recording?
Right.
Well, this isn't classified and I can't
Uh-huh.
classify it, but hey, I'm gonna share this with you. You
Right.
know, you know what? Let me end the show. Let me end the show because
Yeah,
I'm about
because
to
we can go on.
about to
That's a whole
go
nother show. That's a whole
about
nother
to
show.
go off. Hey, we definitely thank you for joining us and another
Definitely, y'all.
successful podcast. And the Shy is starting up in August, and we about to get back into the broadcast and do
Do
the
the
Shy. Is this going to be the last season of the Shy? Did
no.
Lehman?
No. We've been saying this for the last 3 seasons, and they keep on redoing it.
That's
So
what I'm gonna
no.
take to the Supreme Court. I'm gonna be like, look here, Supreme Court. They may renew it for another season after this, so I need y'all to shut this down before it happens. So
Calvin,
I
I'm gonna
mean,
tell you, after the third or fourth episode, we're gonna hear it. The shot has been renewed for another year. As they bring back Coogie and all
Coogie.
the they bring, long as they bring back my man. Oh my God, why I forget? Oh my God, what was his name?
Who?
He got killed. My man.
Ronnie.
Yeah, long as
Ronnie.
they bring back Ronnie, they can bring back Coogie, Ronnie, all of them.
They not bringing back Brandon though.
No,
Brandon.
no.
Brandon.
Brandon like the
Brandon messed up.
Brandon messed up. Brandon like the sexual harassing, but now then. But yeah, they can bring back everybody else. Hey, they brought back Kima last year from the
They did
Wire
bring back
for,
King.
for a
They did
minute,
bring
so
her
she
back.
could shoot
She
Duda
shot
on the
Duda.
roof.
Yeah. She shot. Hey, so you know what? I'm gonna edit this. Just letting you all know I'm gonna edit this sometime this evening. You might get it tomorrow morning. You might get it Tuesday. You might not get it at all. Depends on what the
Right.
Supreme Court ruling is, and maybe Elon Musk will even jump in there and tell you that I can't put it on Twitter. So we're not even sure
There you
about
go.
that. We're gonna do what we
We're
can
gonna
do.
see.
But we definitely thank you for joining us. Again, this is All Things Black presents Fanboys. This is live on YouTube, and you will see it on all the podcast platforms. And until then, we will talk to you all next week.
Golden Corral, here I come.
And another thing, how do you
have been
even
listening
vote for
to
somebody like Trump?
All
Like,
Things Black with Garland and
he
Calvin
can
Production.
barely even talk.
Thank you for listening. And make sure to rate and review this episode on all of your podcast platforms.